Hey, what's up guys, it's Renaldo here. So this video is going to be a little bit more personal in the sense that it features me. And of course, just it seems that journalism all around the world is focused on driving a very leftist to far leftist narrative and painting anybody center right as extremists. And this continues on a podcast in which I mentioned on, it's called Weird Little Guys. And in it, I am named, and something is said, and there's absolutely no context to it, which is something that you expect from leftist journalists to try and drive their point home. They take a little bit of truth and then they mix a lot of lies around it, or refuse to give context because context is their enemy. That is very clear to see. So I just want to let you just listen to how extreme this narrative is, because from what I've seen, the person behind this podcast is relatively well known in the United States. And in essence, if you want to know what Weird Little Guys is about, just read it with me over here. So it says, Weird Little Guys is a weekly show about the worst people you've never heard of, taking you beyond the headlines to get to know the race warriors and aspiring terrorists trying to unravel the fabric of our society, weaving together the origin stories of modern American white supremacist groups and the crimes that land their members in court. Independent journalist Molly Conger exposes the monsters for what they really are, some weird guy. Whether they're conspiring to build bombs or serving swastika-shaped cookies at a dinner party, they're weird little guys trying to destroy America are a little less scary with their masks off. Okay, so she doxes people and accuses people of... Now, I can't speak on the American people that she's referring to, but if I have to go off of what she said about me, then I think that everything she says should be taken with a kilogram of salt, not just a pinch of salt. So who is Molly Conger? Well, you can go and check on the wiki page. I know that you can't take all of this to heart, but these are things that are proven with links attached to it. So Conger is an anti-fascist researcher and activist. She started live tweeting government meetings in Charlottesville in 2017 after the Unite the Right rally. She identified Teddy Joseph von Newcomb as a participant in an assault of a counter-protest at the rally. She was also the first person to break the news of von Newcomb's death on February 14, 2023. In 2017, Conger was hired by a local weekly newspaper to write political columns. Her contract was cancelled after writing only 6 columns. In 2017, Conger began researching the far right and doxing notable members. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. This is doxing people based on her assumption, right? Yeah. And we know in South Africa how... The media likes to dox people, especially with twatterbaas. So let's just listen to what she's got to say over here.
In the last 2 months, Ernst Rutz has made the rounds. He's been interviewed by Ben Shapiro, Matt Gaetz, Tucker Carlson, Jack Posobiec, and Jordan Peterson. He's been on YouTube Lives and shows that only exist on Twitter somehow.
That's not factually true. That's actually a blatant lie. So there's a lie right there.
He made an appearance on a show hosted by Renaldo Gouws.
Renaldo Gouws. Okay, well, let's listen. Please, I hope she's going to provide some context here. Let's listen. Let's listen to what Molly Conger has to say about me.
A South African YouTuber whose political career was stopped dead in its tracks last summer, just days after he was elected to Parliament.
Well, okay, that's not true, because it wasn't days. It was, I think, 3 to 4 months. So another lie there. So that's 2 lies in like 20 seconds. But okay.
His own party stripped him of membership after video surfaced of him calling for the murder of all black people. And he used both the American racial slur that you're probably familiar with and a South African equivalent.
Okay, so you're going to probably provide a little bit of context here. I mean, like there's a lot more to it than what you just said. So let's wait for the context, shall we?
And Roots also gave an interminably long interview to a benign-sounding web.
So there's actually no context? No context over here? Just, let's listen again.
A South African YouTuber whose political career was stopped dead in its tracks last summer.
Stopped dead in its tracks. I was already a politician for 12 years at this point. She's acting like I just got brand spanking new into politics. Like the way that it's worded, it is just so obviously made to be misinterpreted in favor of the person that wants to illustrate their point.
Just days after he was elected to parliament.
Months, not days. Factually incorrect.
His own party stripped him of membership after video surfaced of him calling for the murder of all black people. And he used both the American racial slur that you're probably familiar with and a South African equivalent. And Roots also gave an
So nothing. That's it. So that's my little piece in this puzzle. So just so that I understand you correctly, right? Molly Conger, you mentioned my name. You use me as a tool to get to Aaron's roots, but you completely fail to provide any context whatsoever. The fact that the video was made in 2010 in response to Julius Malema and Jacob Zuma singing "Kill the Boer, Kill the Farmer." The fact that you leave out a 6-minute long video and focus on 15 seconds. You don't give context where immediately after what was said as hyperbole was said, I didn't just mean what I said. I actually say that in the video. So no, I did not call for that. It was used as hyperbole to illustrate the double standards in South Africa when it comes to racism, where on the one hand, you've got people in high positions, the president of the country, Jacob Zuma at the time, and Julius Malema, the youth leader of the African National Congress, on a platform in public singing "Kill the Boer, Kill the Farmer," which is to kill white people. You miss that context completely. So to anybody that's got no idea who I am, listening to that, I sound like an absolute lunatic. But once again, that doesn't fit your narrative to give context. So once again, we have another leftist journalist that acts like News 24 and other outlets in South Africa, like IOL, like Daily Maverick. So clearly, this is something that is far broader than South Africa. I mean, we did know that, but this is quite extreme. The fact that you say that I said something, but then leave out all context connected to that. So what I should do then, obviously, by following your lead, is I should go through some things that you've said, and then maybe if you quoted somebody, I should use that and then attribute it to you, and then just say that you are the worst type of person. It's amazing. A 6-minute and 22-second long video, you focus on 15 seconds, which is 4% of the video's entire run. You provide 4% of input from your side and you leave out 96% of context. Yeah, I'm sure that you are very fair to your listeners and you providing them with factual information, and there's nothing sus about how you do these things. I mean, we listened for 30 seconds, and within those 30 seconds, there were 3 errors that you made. So I'm not sure if you're just not really clued up on what's happening in South Africa, but I would say that if you are willing to make these points and overlook context to try and strengthen your argument, then I'm quite scared for your entire like sort of podcast, podcasts that you do, because that's quite scary. And an hour long video, or an hour and 20 minutes, you already made 3 mistakes in 30 seconds. So I'm not saying that you're not accurate in your American podcasts, but what I can definitely say is when it comes to South Africa, I think you should just keep quiet because you really don't know what you're talking about. And if I was an American listening to you, I would definitely fact check everything you say, because you proclaim to be anti-fascist, and I'm assuming that you are very similar to the woke leftists in South Africa. So anything to the right of you scares the living shit out of you. So my top tip is maybe keep your nose out of what's happening in South Africa, unless you are actually willing to be truthful and honest about what is happening. The fact that you mention my name, the fact that you try and portray me as this monster without providing any context whatsoever is absurd. And as a journalist, you should hang your head in shame. But then again, there's a lot of journalists that should hang their heads in shame. We know that it's a dying profession. We know that people are willing to go to the extremes to stay relevant. And unfortunately, Molly Conger looks to be one of those individuals. So I'm assuming, thank you for the mention. I don't know how big your podcast is, but yeah. If any of the listeners of that podcast, for some weird reason, finds this video, you are more than welcome to contact me if you want to get the full information and not just what she wanted you to understand out of what was being said. I can promise you that I'm a well-rounded individual. I care about all South Africans regardless of their race, culture, or creed. But if you listen to Molly Conger, I sound like a absolute right-wing, insane lunatic. And that's not what I am. And that's pretty much all I got to say. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to this channel. Be sure to smash that like button. Be sure to share this video far and wide. And lastly, if you support me and my content, please consider becoming a member. You can do so by clicking the join button below. And that's all I got to say. Till later. Cheers and peace out.
You don't even know me, but every time you see me, you say, I went my massacre. You don't even know me, but every time you see me, you say, I went my massacre. My massacre. You don't even know me, but every time you see me, you say, I went my massacre. My massacre.